Hello, and we're back in the middle of a game between ThatDamnPipsqueak and Purplemurasaki. Pipsqueak is on the Rini Infuse deck. The deck uses Infused Apparatus, which costs 1 less for each instant or sorcery spell in your graveyard. And then you run a bunch of cantrips and self-mill to dig through your deck for the Infuse and also fill up your graveyard. And then once you cast Infuse, you can use it to get back Restot's command, which heals both players and then deals damage to the opponent equal to twice the number of cards you drew that turn. So you can just one-shot someone if you just play a few cantrips this turn, especially if it's off the Infuse. It also runs Rini, Sundial Arc Cleric in order to have a backup plan where you just make a bunch of angels in case your opponent disrupts your main combo. And meanwhile, Purplemurasaki is on a black-red graveyard deck. It also uses a bunch of discard spells and self-mill and card draw in order to get through your deck quickly and dump a bunch of creatures into your graveyard that get themselves back from the graveyard. It also runs Mausoleum Resident, which buffs itself whenever a creature leaves your graveyard. So you can get through your deck extremely quickly and then also build up a huge board presence in the meantime. Interestingly enough, both decks are decks that have very high card velocity. It's going to be interesting to see how this matchup turns out. The game will probably mostly just be a race between if Pip can assemble their combo before Purplemurasaki can kill them. So right now, it seems to be turn 3, and Purplemurasaki has a Ceaseless Stalker in their yard that's going to come back if they get... No, Purplemurasaki plays a Current Surfer. Oh no, they activate their Current Surfer and dumping their hand, which allows them to... So the Current Surfer, you can sacrifice it to discard your hand and draw cards equal to its power, and then discard your hand at the end of turn. It combos very well with Illuminated Firebird because it discards your hand first and then draws you cards. So by the time Illuminated Firebird is in your graveyard, it's there to see your second card draw of the turn and get itself back. Now Purplemurasaki swings in with the cat, which got counter. And at the end of turn, the Ceaseless Stalker is going to come back from the graveyard. So also Purplemurasaki has 3 Desert Slaughters in the graveyard. You can pay 1 black to remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control to return it to play from your yard. And Purplemurasaki is keeping up 2 black mana in order to return 2 Desert Slaughters at the end of turn by removing the counters from the cat. It seems like, on the other hand, Pipsqueak has 5 instants and sorceries in yard. So now they're up to 6. They float some, and I think they're trying to infuse this turn. So in order to play infuse, they're gonna have to mill enough instants and sorceries. And I think have they got there yet? And yeah, it seems like Pipsqueak has managed to get 10 spells into their graveyard. So now they can play infuse this turn. Let's see if Pip can win the game this turn. Now Pip has searched up their spells and casting them for free off Infuse. And now they're ordering the stack. So with this Infuse, Pip will get 3 mana and draw a bunch of cards. So they don't have to win just yet. They need to either have to draw into another Infuse or more rituals. Or they can just draw into Restot's command, and then, because they have enough mana after a ritual plus tapping their land to just cast it, and that would instantly kill Purplemurasaki. But it seems like they're not drawing what they need right now. And they milled Restot's command instead of drawing it. So Pipsqueak has 7 spells in yard. Weed from Chaff. So that does get them to 10 spells in yard. So they can and they manage to draw Infuse. So now they can play another Infuse, and then that Infuse would get Restot's command, and that just ends the game. Seems like Pip is still digging, but now that's certainly enough spells in the yard to get 2-cost Infuse, and Purplemurasaki is not going to force Pip to play out the combo and concedes. So for sideboarding, Infuse deck can board in Corrupted Memories to deal with any 8 that Purplemurasaki is bringing in. Fiery Erasure deals with the creatures and exiles them permanently. So Pip might be bringing some removal in to slow down the graveyard deck. And then Seizing Flames also is removal. But the graveyard deck isn't stopping Seizing Flames that much because they can just keep getting stuff back from the graveyard. Meanwhile, Purplemurasaki is running the Moon Rises and Blood Ritual, so they have 4 pieces of graveyard hate. Other than that, they don't really have anything else that's good against deck. Maybe King Florence in order to force discards. Okay, so game 2 has begun, and Purplemurasaki draws. Oh, right. Purplemurasaki also has Obscuriates in the sideboard in order to kill Rini. So yeah, that's why the new Infuse deck is so powerful, because it forces your opponent to bring in both Graveyard Hate for the Infuse part of the combo, as well as creature removal for the Rini part of the combo. Pipsqueak gets a hand with 1 land, a bunch of cantrips, and 2 Infuses. And Pip, of course, keeps that hand. Meanwhile, Purplemurasaki has to decide if he wants to mulligan his hand for a hand with more grave hate. Purplemurasaki is thinking about it. Purplemurasaki decides to keep their hand. Guess they want a fast hand that can just try to race the combo deck instead of hard mulliganing for grave hate, which doesn't completely even hose the Infuse deck, it just slows them down. Purplemurasaki leads off with Current Surfer, probably planning to follow up with Gifted Phoenix next turn to give it a counter. Meanwhile, Pip draws another self-mill spell, and I'm assuming they're going to turn 1 Monkey Shine to dig for a land here. Or they could just turn 1 Weed from Chaff, but yeah, they're going to Monkey Shines for a land, probably. Yeah, they Monkey Shines into Mana Confluence. Purplemurasaki draws another cat, but no cards that can get themselves back from the graveyard yet. So he probably plays a cat and then plays... Well, no, he's going to play Gifted Phoenix first and try to draw into some either Grave Hate or a creature that can get themselves back. So now he draws Illuminated Firebird, but no way to discard it currently. So he can either run out Mausoleum Resident right now, or he can play Dawson's Loot and try to see what else he can hit. I'm assuming he's just going to play Mausoleum Resident right now, because since he's already drawn the second card for turn, if Dawson's Loot mills a Firebird, it won't come back this turn. Current Surfer attacks for 2. Pipsqueak on Ristad's command, so he can Weed from Chaff, discarding Ristad's command, and now he's in an extremely good position to Infuse. Okay, yeah, Pip plays Weed from Chaff. Flotsam and Ristad's, I'm assuming. Or is Pip trying to play around Grave Hate? Okay, seems like Pip is trying to play around Grave Hate and discards the Rini instead, which is not very good for Murasaki because he has a Sugoria in hand that's not going to do anything now. And Pip passes with 5 spells in yard, and they get to Infuse next turn. Well, if they mill 4 more spells off Flotsam, then yeah, they can Infuse next turn and get off a turn 3 Infuse and most likely win the game from there. Meanwhile, Purplemurasaki doesn't draw land or a Grave Hate spell. Right now, he doesn't have any creatures that can return themselves from the yard. And he's probably looking to mill into a Firebird, but unfortunately he doesn't. And instead he mills the Blood Ritual that he probably wanted in hand for stopping the Infuse. So now Purplemurasaki can play down Saruya Flamebinder, attack with both creatures. Or no, the Saruya Flamebinder play doesn't work because he's already drawn his second card per turn, so he can't play Saruya Flamebinder and then get back Firebird off the discard. So I think Purplemurasaki is just going to play down either a Current Surfer or a Mausoleum Resident, and then hope that Pipsqueak doesn't have the win next turn. And Purplemurasaki, he's going to swing in with both his creatures. And then, let's see, so he can drop 1 of the 1-drops right now. He also has the option of passing the turn, holding a flag, and trying to represent Blood Ritual. And yeah, it seems like Purplemurasaki is just going to try to represent Blood Ritual. So is Pipsqueak going to play around Blood Ritual here? Or do they even need to play around Blood Ritual here? Because they can play Glimpse Beyond. And they draw 2 Restauts commands, discarding Restauts command and Infuse apparatus. Pipsqueak doesn't actually get the Infuse off this turn. So it seems like Purplemurasaki is... Oh, he was holding up Current Surfer. So he's gonna pitch his hand, which gets back Illuminate Firebird, which also gets back Ceaseless Stalker off that. And then the cat gets 2 counters. But now Purplemurasaki is forced to discard his hand, and now he's top decking. And it seems like he top decked into another Firebird, which doesn't do anything for him right now. I wonder if, since Current Surfer is worded as the next end step, maybe Purplemurasaki should have stacked Current Surfer on the end step, or during the end step, so that he can keep his hand until his next turn. That would not have gone back to Ceaseless Stalker, but it would have drawn him into more action, possibly. Like if he did that, if he made that play, then he would have drawn the Moon Rises, and then it would have enough mana to cast it next turn. And then that would exile Pipsqueak's graveyard and stop the Infuse. So now that Pip sees that Purplemurasaki is tapped out, or not tapped. But Pipsqueak sees that Purplemurasaki has discarded his hand and most likely doesn't have Blood Ritual. He's just gonna play Flotsam and go for the combo. And Purplemurasaki has no way to stop the combo right now, so game is over. Mercurial's Familiars. Yeah, if Purplemurasaki top deck the land there, then he gets back Mercurial's Familiar and then swings in for lethal. Yeah, that's the match. 2 extremely fast graveyard decks going against each other, but ultimately Infuse was faster.